Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the City Planning Commission public hearing. And Madam Secretary, please begin.
Good morning. This is the City Planning Commission public meeting held in Spector Hall, 22 Reade Street. Today is Wednesday, October 22nd, 2014. As a courtesy during the proceedings, we ask that you please turn off all cell phones and beepers. All speakers should fill out a speaker's card at the desk outside of Spector Hall. In addition, we ask that those providing testimony please identify yourself, limit your remarks to 3 minutes, and speak clearly into the microphone. I will now call the roll. Chairman Weisbrod.
Here.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Here.
Commissioner Besser. Commissioner Cantor. Commissioner Cerullo.
Here.
Commissioner Delaus.
Here.
Commissioner Dweck. Commissioner Edie.
Here.
Commissioner Efron.
Here.
Commissioner Jung. Commissioner Levin. Commissioner Marin.
Here.
Commissioner Ortiz.
Here.
A quorum is present. The first item is the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting, of the special meeting of September 29, 2014.
On the minutes, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The minutes are adopted.
Okay. Scheduling. On calendar number 1, we have a resolution for adoption, scheduling Wednesday, November 5th, 2014, for a public hearing to be held in Spector Hall, 22 Reade Street.
On the resolution, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The resolution is adopted.
The next part of the calendar is the report section on page 2. Borough of Manhattan, calendar number 2, CD4 N140410ZRM, in the matter of an application for an amendment of the zoning resolution concerning the auto showroom text amendment. For a favorable report on calendar number 2, Chairman Weisbrod,
Yes.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Cantor,
Yes.
Commissioner Cerullo,
Yes.
Commissioner Delaus,
Yes.
Commissioner Edie,
Yes.
Commissioner Efron.
Yes.
Commissioner Jung. Commissioner Levin. Commissioner Marin.
Yes.
Commissioner Ortiz.
Yes.
A favorable report has been adopted on calendar number 2. Borough of Staten Island, calendar numbers 3, 4, and 5. Calendar number 3, CD3 N120147 RCR. Calendar number 4, N130036 RAR. Calendar number 5, N140146 ZAR. In the matter of applications for the grant of a certification and authorizations concerning 236 Richmond Valley Road for adoption on calendar numbers 3, 4, and 5. Chairman Weisbrod,
Yes.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Besser.
Yes, and Chair, may I also be recorded as voting yes for the previous vote?
You certainly shall be.
Okay. Okay. Commissioner Cantor.
Yes.
Commissioner Cerullo.
Yes.
Commissioner Delaus.
Yes.
Commissioner Dweck.
Yes, and I'd like to record to reflect my yes vote on the prior.
Will do.
And it certainly will be in your case as well.
Commissioner Edie.
Yes.
Commissioner Efron.
Yes.
Commissioner Jung. Commissioner Levin. Commissioner Marin.
Yes.
Commissioner Ortiz.
Yes.
Calendar numbers 3, 4, and 5 have been adopted. The next part of the calendar is the public hearing section on page 6. Borough of Brooklyn, calendar number 6, CD1 C140411 HAK. A public hearing in the matter of an application for a UDAP designation, project approval, and disposition of city-owned property located at 695 Grand Street.
The first speaker is Frank Lang.
It's not often that you hear buildings being built in the 1980s that are torn down. This must be pretty ramshackle, you know?
Good morning, Commissioner Weisbrod and the other commissioners. My name is Frank Lang. I'm the Director of Housing for St. Nick's Alliance. St. Nick's Alliance was founded in 1975. We'll be celebrating our 40th year providing services and community development advocacy in North Brooklyn. The project before you is the development of a city-owned site This site currently has a one-story commercial building. That building was constructed actually by St. Nick's Alliance back in 1985 as part of the commercial revitalization of Grand Street. It provided an anchor for a community where there was huge disinvestment in terms of commercial, not just residential. Over our 40 years, St. Nick's has developed about 2,000 units of housing, commercial projects, and we currently operate programs that impact about 10,000 residents annually. This project was a vital part of that commercial revitalization. We have a ground lease with the City of New York, and in 2012, we applied to the State of New York for funding to construct a residential building above a ground floor commercial. Grand Street now has a business improvement district that was founded by St. Nick's. We are an active participant, though it's a separate agency, and we work together with the bid on how we can continue to provide that anchor for the community. We were successful in receiving low-income housing tax credit allocation from the State of New York, and with financing from the city, we can move forward with our $21 million total development project. The project will have about $2 million from the City of New York, HPD loan programs, and about $11.5 million in equity through the tax credits. In addition, there's private financing and there's commercial financing for the commercial component. The project is going to be a mixed income project. As part of the development, 9 of the units are going to be unregulated in terms of their affordability. However, the other, and then there's a supers unit. The other 41 units, however, have a range of incomes reaching down to households at 30% area median income up to 60% area median income. The 30% we were able to secure from the State of New York, Section 8, project-based Section 8 for 8 of the units, so that we can, again, hit a very low-income population that is being forced out of the community. The project, we're very excited because this community has not had very many new construction affordable housing projects. They've had a lot of new construction, and particularly on the waterfront, but this is an inland part nearer to the Queens border in East Williamsburg. So we look forward to answering any questions you might have, and the architect, Magnuson Architects, can come and talk a little bit about the design and so on.
Thank you, Mr. Lang. Questions for Mr. Lang? Mr. Knuckles.
Mr. Lang, this sounds like a very worthwhile project, and given the
Thank
history of St. Nick's Alliance, quite consistent with your mission. I'm just wondering, with regard to the retail tenants, the month-to-month retail tenants in the existing building, what will be their fate? Will they have an opportunity to be in your new construction?
Right. So the tenants are not, the 2 tenants that have been there, and they were part of the original development, there's a gem store and then a subtenant Rainbow store. They are large, multi-site retail entities. And what we have done is, in return for their leaving the space in order for us to do this, the lease, by the way, ends July 2015, okay? So we are giving them the first option to negotiate to come back. We don't know in 3 years or when this is going to be built what the rent will be and what their interest will be to come back, but we worked very closely with them. So both Gem and Rainbow have multiple stores to move their inventory and come back if the situation is appropriate.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Lang? Ms. Deluz.
Hi, Frank. Good to see you.
Hi.
As always, a good project. I'm just wondering if you had any comments that you wanted to make about some of the Borough President's recommendations, some of which are kind of outside of the normal ULURP process.
Sure. So the Borough President, I believe, was interested in seeing that there would be some local or minority women-owned business participation in the project. So our contractor is Galaxy Construction, who has worked on a lot of construction projects. And they work regularly with a lot of small and women-owned businesses. And we have reached out to the borough president, and we will ask them to forward us firms that they believe we should forward to Galaxy to consider. The state also has a requirement to have an outreach and inclusion of minority and women-owned businesses in their projects. And so since this is funded through the state tax credit, we will be going through and being very careful to do that. St. Nick's also operates a program for job training, and so we do a lot of assistance with environmental remediation. Fortunately, that's not one of these issues, but and other trades. And so we work with our contractors to also try and connect. It doesn't always work for every project, but you know, when the case comes, we look forward to that component. In terms of the permanent affordability, I think we are open to that. The project is going to be 10% permanently affordable, of 20% because of the inclusionary housing use of the FAR. And so we are going to have 10 out of the 50 units that will be permanently affordable. The other affordable units are going to be are going to have a regulatory restriction for over 50 years. So we are open to that, and you know, I think that the other comment that the borough president made is that, you know, we've been around 40 years, and we have already restructured 350 units that had expiring regulatory requirements that we could have taken out of affordability, and we chose not to, and we extended them, and that's our mission. So that would be our focus on that.
Ms. Efron, and then Ms. Ortiz.
Question about the commercial, what ostensibly would be retail. Even though your job training programs are around remediation and building-related activities, the bid has relationships with others, I would imagine, in the area looking for job training or involved in job training programs. Is there any consideration of having the retail jobs either be career ladder or explicitly an opportunity for job training programs to participate?
Well, you know, St. Nick's actually founded a industrial development corporation, IVICO, East Williamsburg Valley Industrial Development Corporation, specifically to kind of link together the manufacturers and other job creators in the community. And this project is not that far from that. We definitely connect people. What we find is it becomes hard to say that this particular site will be that connection, only because there are so many human factors involved in terms of who is there and the context and what the use is. I expect that based on what the bid has talked with us about, that there will be a discount retail component, probably there. I don't know. And so they will definitely be part of the outreach that we do. We work with the public housing development, which is a block away from there, and we work with the businesses along Grand Street and in the IVICO industrial area. So we have a lot of connections, not just environmental remediation, but that's more like the skill-based training. You know, for people that don't have a college education, you got to give them a living wage job. So truck driving, environmental remediation, that kind of thing.
Thank you.
Sure.
Ms. Ortiz.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm also on the commercial space. You had mentioned that the borough president's office might be forwarding the names of businesses to Galaxy for consideration in the ground floor space. Who ultimately makes the decision, you know, in approving sort of the tenants that you will have occupied?
Well, okay, so yes, so the the Galaxy would be for any subcontractor or participant in the construction of the building.
Oh, I see.
Right. So Galaxy is the contractor, and so I think the borough president's focus primarily was on jobs and that.
understand.
For the commercial component, we are going to be the one that are going to do that. Our first intent is to work with the tenants that had been there and give them an opportunity to negotiate and see what the terms are to come back. But there are going to be financing issues. They have, that we're going to have to meet whatever the financing, credit worthiness, and all kinds of other issues come up. We've already promised to the community board that there would not be a nightclub here, so I'm allowed to have a restaurant with some wine and beer, but I'm not allowed to have a nightclub. I already told them that's okay. And, but other than that, I'm not sure. I think that because we work with the bid, it's going to be what makes sense. And I think sometimes economically, it's not going to be who's going to pay the most rent for us. It'll be who's going to be there and going to pay their rent, right, long-term and be stable. I'd rather get a little bit less and just bank their rent and not have to worry about it, so.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Ms. Jung.
Let's see if I can, I got the button. Good morning, Frank, how are you?
Good morning. Good.
Good morning. So I'm sure Christine will speak to this a bit more later, but I mean, given the context of the mayor's 80% reduction by 50 carbon plan, I'm just wondering if you might speak a little to sort of the agency's goals in terms of the sustainability aspects of this project. And St. Nick's has done some really exemplary green preservation projects, including the modular project. This is a little bit of a different opportunity, right, because it's a new construction project. So I'm wondering, whether this, between the opportunity here and the carbon goals, if you've, as an agency, looked at this as an opportunity to sort of push your commitment forward.
Well, we have. I think one of our challenges is if HPD would give me more loan money, I would do even more, And that's not a problem of theirs. That's their own challenge to deal with that. So we are working on some of that. But Christine from Magnuson Architects can talk about what we have incorporated. A lot of what we're trying to do is minimize some of that footprint. And the design does incorporate a great deal of energy improvements. We don't tend to go to quite honestly, we don't like to pay for all the extra certification to get a little LEED sticker on my building. But I like to get everything except that sticker, and in terms of performance. And so we're kind of going for as much as we can, So if HPD pays more money, I'll pay for the sticker.
Any other questions to Mr. Lang? Thank you. Next speaker, the aforementioned Christine Hunter.
Good morning. Should we add a we have one. As Frank has mentioned, or maybe he didn't, this is a totally as-of-right design. Our basic sort of conception of the massing is to break it up to kind of reflect some of the smaller widths that currently exist along Grand Street. And that's also the reason for, the alternating brick colors. Yeah. Maybe this because it's just the rear. And then,
Ms. Hunter, could you state for the record where you're from?
my apologies. Christine Hunter, I'm a principal with Magnuson Architecture and Planning. We're the architects for the project. The green features of this project are, first and foremost, a high-performance envelope that will exceed NYSERDA, will be part of the NYSERDA MPP program as well as Enterprise Green Communities and exceed the minimum required standards. We will incorporate Energy Star PTAX, which will also contribute to indoor fresh air, or, indoor air quality for tenants. We have the main facade facing Grand Street is a south-facing wall, which is a great opportunity for exterior sunshades which are both an attractive feature and really contribute to the quality of light and energy reduction inside the apartments. We're also incorporating a green feature at the break between the two heights, a green wall that it would extend on a trellis all the way down the building and incorporate a planter at the base as well, to try and make that a very prominent feature of the building. The elevator lobbies, this is a typical floor plan, are daylit by lot line windows. And I guess finally, we're currently exploring the best use of the main roof, but, the intention is to incorporate, some kind of non-fossil fuel energy production, but we just need to really analyze it with the current financing. It's a rapidly changing field. Also want to point out that there's, it's a very deep lot, and the retail extends the full depth of the lot, which creates, at the second floor, the opportunity for a very generously sized recreation deck for all the tenants, which would also, we will also work very hard to design it to encourage active use by all ages in the building. Questions?
Mr. Cantor. Oh, I'm sorry. Mr.
No, I was pointing
Okay.
away. Thank you. Did you guys analyze what the delta is between the building as it is now and, let's say, Leeds Gold?
In terms of cost?
Yes. I understand why he doesn't want the good housekeeping seal of approval, because it's expensive, but how expensive? Did you ever do an analysis?
No, I didn't.
This question is directed to Ms.
Yeah, we haven't done that specific analysis. It's something that we could do as we develop the design to identify, features that would increase the performance.
Because I was thinking, as Mr. Lang finished speaking, if you had some idea of what a gold would be, for instance, when you go to the other agencies, you could have a number in mind for them. Or is this just off the table? Off the table. Okay.
Why don't you get back to us with, if you could?
Sure.
Thank you. Ms. Levin?
Yeah, I just need a little help understanding the green feature on the trellisy thing going up the front of the building. Does it run perpendicular to the sidewalk, or is it flat?
It's flat.
It looks like from the rendering, it looks like there's a little bit of a setback, but obviously there, you have no setback.
There's a small setback that would accommodate the trellis, but it's basically parallel
So
to the
it's
sidewalk.
flat on the front?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So the vines would, provide some relief.
Yeah,
but
yeah, no, it seems like a very simple but elegant and nice additional feature, so good for that.
Thank you.
Ms. Deleuze?
Hi, Christine.
Hi.
I'm wondering if you could, well, first off, I just want to say that I think the laundry room next to the community room and the outdoor spaces are really nice. Kind of ties that all together really nicely to help bring the community together. There was a repeated question I just heard from Commissioner Cantor about the maintenance of the green trellis. And then I was just going to say, and I don't know exactly, but I want to say that for every level of LEED, it's several hundreds of thousands of dollars per level of cost. And I think the overall challenge in general when you're trying to reach depth of affordability, length of affordability, and sustainability, you often have to make some very difficult choices. So that's the experience that I know that we have faced with similar projects. But I'm wondering if you could just talk a little bit about
The
maintenance of the
Well, this is something that we're currently working with, and plan to develop. I think, as I said, we would have access from top and bottom. That is, the plan is to have some, a planter feature at the sidewalk level from which things would grow up, as well as from the top down, so we're very mindful of that.
Ms. Jung, I'm certainly not surprised to see you ask a question.
So, hey, Christine, how are you?
Good.
And just as an aside, obviously the city's standard for affordable housing financed by HPD is green community certification. So thank you for making the efforts that you've made here, both in this project and other projects, to meet that. I wonder if you could speak to sort of three things. One is I'm wondering whether you have a projected SEIU for this project. If you have, and if you, any of these things, if you don't have it at your fingertips, if you would provide them at a later time. If you have a projected heating index for this project, and if you could speak to some of the stormwater features.
I'm going to have to get back to you on the first, and on the stormwater, I think as we've discussed it, we would like to incorporate some reuse of stormwater for, in a sort of cistern arrangement for, irrigation of the planting features. Beyond that, we have to design it according, the new standards are very, very tough, and we have not yet gotten in depth into that design. So whether it's, roof retention, there's minimal options here because the building basically covers the entire site. So we have to incorporate it into the building design. And there's not a lot of opportunity to do anything else to, say, percolate onto the site and retain more water than we can use for irrigation.
Have you considered reuse for flushing?
That's one of those items where I think,
Yeah.
Based on, Michelle's comment about levels of cost, I would love to, but I don't believe that it's in the budget. But,
Okay.
we can, we can get a number.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
Ms. Ortiz.
Hi, good morning.
good morning.
With respect to the retail space, I don't have any doubt you'll be able to find tenants here. It's a strong market and getting stronger every day. But I know historically there have been problems with affordable housing and the ground floor retail space not being appropriately designed, so it makes it a little bit more challenging to find a tenant. So the floor to ceiling ratios, might not be high enough. The size of the spaces and the columns in the spaces don't necessarily lend themselves to the way retail works today. And I know HPD is looking at this, and it's a great concern for them. So I wondered, to what degree you've given some thought to the design of the retail space with respect to industry standards in order that the space itself is made more appealing to retailers.
Well, I believe that we have made, and I don't have a section right at my fingertips, but, maximize the height of the retail relative to the maximum allowable height of the building. In other words, we made it as high as we can, and certainly are mindful of the structural issues and are currently showing columns and talking to our structural engineer and understand that we need to prioritize probably and maybe pay a little bit more for steel structure, throughout the retail so that you don't end up with bearing walls chopping up the space, if that's what you're referring to. And we're also designing for possible flexibility, that is one or two tenants, as well, both at the first floor and in terms of retail storage space downstairs. So we're trying to make it the most flexible, rentable retail space that we can, given the building type and structure.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Hunter? Thank you.
Thank you.
We also have with us Lynn Zheng from HPD to answer any questions, or Ms. Zheng, if you want to add to the discussion.
Not here to answer that, but here to answer any remaining questions you may have about this project.
Any questions, Mr. Cantor?
No, let the lady first.
Okay. Ms. Delos?
Beauty before the beast.
You thinking of lending Frank any more money?
Well, he has to show us a number first. To be discussed.
Obviously,
Yeah, I mean,
Different goals.
I think we definitely want to expand affordable housing opportunities in the city, and we definitely have to weigh what are the pros and cons for each, but yeah.
Mr. Cantor?
Thank you. On that same subject, I don't know whether you have access to additional funds for green, but we do know that green is heavy throughout the city. It's something that's being pushed hard, and it seems to me if we have a developer over here who's willing to do it, if he can get at least part, if not all, of the delta, it's really something that the agency should look at. Particularly in this instance, I think you've really got a sort of community service organization behind it, and it just sounds to me that it would be appropriate to find a way for minimal legal green, which is gold, I think. I think gold's the lowest.
I think silver, maybe silver is the lowest.
Pardon me?
I think silver is the
Oh,
lowest.
is it? Then I'm sorry that I meant silver. I meant the lowest level.
Well taken, but I think this project has, as Christine explained, a lot of sustainable measures and, features as
Then
well.
you might not have to go
And-
very far to bring it over.
Right, but I think Frank also pointed out it's a matter of just paying for a sticker, and I don't, yeah, but I note it, and we would definitely bring that back.
Ms. Levin?
Hi, Lynn.
Hi.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you, Anna.
The borough president had one comment that was, I think, particularly directed at the city, and I guess that means you in this case. And that is a request for the community preference, which I assume there's a community preference in this project anyway.
Right.
But as I understand the borough president's comment, it was to have that community preference particularly focused on folks who have been displaced by previous rezoning.
Right. So for this project, the city will extend the community preference to former tenants of Community Board 1. So I think that reason comes from our understanding of the 2005 points of agreement, which identified or recognized the potential displacement of residents as a result of the rezoning. So considering that this is city-owned property, considering there's affordable housing on the site, and obviously rents in the area have gone up significantly in the past 10 years, the city's decision is to extend that preference to anyone who's lived in CB1 from October 2004. That's when the rezoning was certified.
Okay. Even though they have had to migrate elsewhere?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Since then?
Since then, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So is there a tracking mechanism to figure out?
I think
Sounds like an administrative challenge to.
it is. Yeah, I think they're probably going through that with Stewart Park now, try to track former tenants. But I think we could do marketing, and what we ask for is a proof of utilities or lease, some sort of documentation stating that they live there.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Any other questions for Ms. Zhang? Ms. Delos?
Just kind of following up on some of the borough president's comments. Obviously, again, not all of them necessarily have to do with this particular site.
Sure.
In general, in the area. Are you at all prepared to comment on the comments he made about the Broadway Triangle and the hospital site?
No, not able to, but we will, look into those.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah.
Discretion is the better part of valor. So, any other questions for Ms. Zhang? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to be heard on this matter? If not, the hearing's closed.
Borough of Staten Island, calendar number 7, CD1, C110122, ZMR. A public hearing in the matter of an application for an amendment of the zoning map concerning the Solazzo Plaza rezoning.
First speaker is Eric Paletnik.
Big presentation, little project.
We're admiring the magnets on the boards.
I can't take credit for that. That's Mr. Ian Rasmussen of Urban Cartographics, who does a lot of the presentations for a lot of the applicants, and he figured out to stick magnets on the boards. It was a good idea. Saves us the cumbersome part. Good morning on this wet Wednesday morning. It was difficult for everybody to get here, and I thank you for making it. Good morning, Chair. This is my first time appearing before you, so I'd like to say hello. My name is Eric Palatnik, and I'm an attorney, and I'm representing the Salazzo family estate, which has owned the property that we're here for today on Staten Island for many, many years. The family had it originally as a plumbing supply company. I think their great-grandfather actually lived in the house that's on the property back when it was all farmland around them. And this little stretch of Forest Avenue that's just off of Richmond, you see right here, is really the last stretch of the old remnant of Staten Island. There are 3 houses that are grouped together, including the property that we're talking about, that are old farmhouse-type buildings that have been engulfed by commercial development up and down, as you could see in that picture across the street, with commercial development and local retail. The property that we're here for today is approximately 18,000 square feet. Shown right there. It's about 100 feet off of the corner of Richmond, and it's zoned R32 with a partial C11 overlay on it, on part of the property, the first 20 feet or so, 30 feet of it. We're asking permission to create a new zoning district, a C12, over the entire parcel. So the property right now is split zoned. It's got, as I said before, it's got a C11 on part of it, and the rest of it is zoned R32. We're asking to make the entire property C12. The project was presented to Community Planning Board 1, where it was very well received. I don't believe there were any dissenters from the application. They supported it very much. Our project architect is here with us today. What it's going to facilitate, you can see right here, is a very simple 7,000, the exact dimension is 7,064 square foot retail development, 1-story local retail. It's meant to house local retail such as florists or barbershops or a card shop or any other local retail that you could imagine. It's been designed nicely, as you can see from the design. Get it out here. That one didn't have a magnet. The architect, the Marais family, Roger, who's here with me today, and his father, Joe, are local architects on Staten Island. So they're very sensitive to the design element of it. And as you can see, it's not just proposed to be a cinder block type of structure, but actually with some design features to dress it up as much as you can. As I said before, there are 24 parking spaces proposed. And a unique feature of the design, if there is anything, is garbage storage will be inside on the building, which was something that the community board liked a lot due to the fact that there's a school behind us and there is residential next door to us. So they asked that we include it inside, and we accommodated that request. I'd be happy to answer any questions anybody may have, and thank you for your time.
Questions? Thank you very much, Mr. Plotnick.
Thank you for your time.
Is there anyone else who wishes to be heard on this matter? Not, the hearing is closed. And, Madam Secretary, is there any other business to come before us today?
No, Chairman Weisbrod.
Then I will entertain a motion to adjourn. I hear no dissents.